I'd like to show you how I made this particular piece. It's an altar book that's mounted on an antique washboard. Might be able to see it a little bit better here. And it's part of a series that I did that will be appearing hopefully in May over at Gallery One in Ellensburg, Washington. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of how I actually create altered books and what goes into them. So first thing is to choose the book. This is just like the book that I used before. It's one of the Time Life books. And what I did was I took a cutter and cut around this opening here so that I could get through the front cover and then add a frame around here. I happen to use this kind of rope. It's very important that when you get started, you start clipping. You need to clamp down what's called the text block. The text block is what bookmakers call, the actual text. And what I would do is I would use some gel medium, like so. You could find this at most craft stores or fine art stores, and it's sort of a dry gel. The idea is to seal the text block together so that it's closed. So what I would do is I would take my palette knife and probably use my finger to smear it on the clamped text block. And I would go all the way around. These sides would be clamped too. And as I needed to, I would be moving these specific clamps so that I could get to everything. So, notice I have some, hey, how are you? How you doing? You'll notice that I have some wax paper on this back cover. It is not necessary to have anything particularly fancy. Wax paper will do the job, so will saran wrap. But the idea is to protect this back cover from getting any glue or gel medium or paint or anything like that onto the back before I use it. I'll explain that later. Right. So let's pretend that we have sealed this text block and we have this hole right in the center of the book. Okay. So you see what I had to do was I needed to start tearing the inside of the book within that framed area. So to do that, really simple way. Basically just cut an X through some of the pages so that you have like 4 flaps coming up and tear around the edge of the circle where you would want to create a niche. And once you circle all the way through, all the way down, finally you're going to hit that back cover. And that is where you're going to put your primary image, or you could also put something solid in there. Like, for instance, I have this little disc that I cut from another book. I might put that right there in the center, and then the niche would be around it, like so. So once I figured that out and I position that piece, then what I'm going to do is I am going to use some paint to dry brush the edges of the paper, because I like things that look old but don't act like they're old. So what I did was I brushed Van Dyke Brown all around the edges here. This is before I set my center image permanently. And then after I was finished with that, I actually have an interesting trick to get those images in there. You'll see that there are two images. There's the image of the transparency of the little boy running into the house, into the more modern house. Well, it's the 70s, so that's what I'm going to call it. And that is layered over an image of a hotel, a painted image of a hotel. Sorry about the glare. Sorry about the glare. All right. So what I would be doing is I would get back to my original book, and I have this book set up. I'm actually going to break through this part here, this part of the text block here, right there. On the bottom, I'm going to break through the bottom and slide my images in. So for example, I have this image that I'm going to use in a different project. It is a transparency of my grandfather, my aunt, and my mother. My mom's the baby. And so what I would do is I would take this image, cut myself an opening through the dried gel medium, and I would slip that in like so. And I pinch it in until it's in the right place. If I have anything hanging out at the bottom, then I try and get it all the way in. If that is not possible, then I'll just go over it with an X-Acto knife and cut off the bottom. So you might be wondering a little bit about what kind of book that I chose. Like I said, I chose a hardcover book, but it's pretty up to you, as long as the book itself is fairly stable. What you would want to do is find a book that has a pretty stable binding area, so it's not falling apart, it's not falling out. So, because you need this to be stuck along the spine. And you might want to get a book that has an actual title on the top, like this one. This one says Botany. Or you might want to have one that is totally blank, and then you have more room to alter it the way you see fit. And you remember I was telling you about that framing device that I used. I used the rope as a framing device. I used this because I couldn't find an actual frame that was the right size and shape. But if I can, I will use an actual frame. So the idea here is to highlight the niche that you have been digging through and to highlight the images that are on the inside. After you have the images firmly placed and you're looking around and you're thinking, okay, maybe I might do a little bit of extra snipping or something along the sides of the back, you cleaned it up. That is when you can seal the text block to the back, because you know for sure that you're not going to move it, and then you can seal the front cover, and that will bring the whole thing together. If you choose to, you can either mount it on a washboard like I did there. It doesn't have to be a frame, like I said, it's a framing device. So you can sort of frame this whole altered book with the antique washboard to create that sense that it's finished, it's done, this is the whole of the artwork. You can also set your altered book into a shadow box, for example, or you could have it professionally mounted by a framer who would decide what kind of depth and what would be appropriate for your piece. Thank you very much for sticking along with me. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties earlier, but I hope that Wednesday at 11:45 is going to be a lot smoother. Thanks for watching.